Last year, Rental Secrets received an award at a ceremony held in Miami, Florida. This year, I returned to Miami to help the organizers with the event. But on my flight back to Dallas, I noticed a couple of things. The tray table was about half the size I expected it to be, and the pocket on the back of the seat in front of me was, well, non-existent. It just resembled a couple of crossed elastic ropes. All of this got me thinking about if this was the result of the high inflation that we've seen in recent years. If that's how inflation showed up on an airplane, how might inflation appear in the apartments that have been built recently? We're talking apartment inflation and shrinkflation on this episode of Renter Confidential. Well, let's back up for a second. We've been hearing in the news that inflation has been higher than normal. But what exactly is inflation? Inflation is measured as a percentage increase in the cost of goods and services. The higher the rate, the faster the price increases. If the rate is lower, then the price increases are more gradual. But make no mistake, as long as the inflation rate is positive, prices are increasing. Shrinkflation is more deceptive. With shrinkflation, the actual price of the item doesn't change. What changes is the item itself is smaller or contains less product. A really good example of this is ice cream shrinking from a full half gallon or 2 quarts down to 1.5 quarts, even though the price remained unchanged. Over the past 5 years, the United States has officially experienced a general inflation rate of 22.5%, or 24.5% inflation specifically for rent. These are national averages and government numbers, so take them with a grain of salt. The price increases you've personally experienced are likely much higher than these numbers might indicate. As a renter, it's not easy to understand how and why certain rental product arrives on the market. The process from conception to permitting to financing to construction is about as clear as mud to the average individual. But inflation would clearly affect the cost of all the inputs required to complete the project, from lumber to construction wages to copper wiring. So in order to offset increasing costs, the attributes of the properties that would get built would need to be altered to adapt. These alterations may include apartment size, the quality of appliances installed, and amenities on any given property. So let's start with apartment size. Inflation has caused the cost of construction materials, labor, and land to increase over time. For example, lumber prices increased by 280% between May of 2020 and May of 2021. The result? It cost an additional $7,300 to build an apartment compared to the year before, and that's just for lumber. To borrow from John Oliver, there are 2 possibilities here. Either lumber inflation is out of control, or that is one incredible 2x4. I mean, really world class. The higher costs for lumber and other materials increase the cost of construction for all multifamily properties across the country. And since larger apartments use more wood, building smaller apartments is a way to control any project's overall cost. As a result, developers choose to reduce the size of apartments to maintain profitability. In 2022, the average apartment size was 887 square feet, which is a drop of 54 square feet from 10 years ago, and a drop of 30 square feet from the year before, which is the steepest year-over-year drop in history, according to rentcafe.com. For further perspective, 54 square feet equates to a little more than half of a bedroom. In this case, inflation is hitting in 2 ways. First, average rents are going up. Second, the apartment you're renting is getting smaller. Yes, shrinkflation really is a thing. If you're still looking for that roomy feeling, head to the south and southeast. Because unfortunately, as you head toward the Pacific and Pacific Northwest, apartments become quaint and cozy. Real estate code words for tiny. Inflation can also affect the quality of appliances installed in apartments. Developers may choose to use lower quality appliances to offset the cost of construction and materials. If multifamily property developers use lower quality appliances, you as the renter may experience lower energy efficiency in your apartment. This can lead to increased utility bills and potentially more frequent breakdowns of the appliances. Hopefully, the developers won't skimp too much on appliance quality, as renter dissatisfaction could reflect poorly on the overall perception of the property, leading to negative reviews or difficulty attracting new tenants. While less expensive appliances could help the project be more profitable in the short run, it could result in a more expensive rental experience over time. However, developers have sold the property since then and are long gone by the time these costs materialize for renters. And now we'll take a break for our sponsor, Apartment Search Secrets. This free book removes the stress from your apartment search. The link is in the show notes, and here's the trailer for this amazing free book. That new job you've been looking for finally came through. So you're taking on a new adventure in a brand new city, which all means one thing: packing, and the stress it brings. But you can drop all that stress for free with Apartment Search Secrets. With this short ebook at your side, you'll know your value as a renter. You'll know what the internet can't tell you. You'll see landlord problems coming a mile away. And you'll get the best perspective on your rental search. Visit rentalsecrets.net for your free copy today. And we're back. Multifamily property developers may also reduce the number or quality of amenities offered to maintain profitability as well. For example, a property built during high inflation periods may only have a courtyard and a fitness center, while a property built during a low inflation period may have a pool, a fitness center, a playground, and a pet spa. While they do consider tenant expectations and market demand when determining the amenities to provide, certain amenities with lower market demand may be removed from the design plan entirely as inflation pushes development costs higher. They'll adjust their plans accordingly to maintain profitability while still providing quality housing for their tenants. Developers may also shift towards smaller scale, value-driven amenities that still enhance the living experience but are more cost-effective to develop and maintain. For example, they might install a smaller pool or one larger barbecue grill instead of several smaller ones. But the bottom line is that the amenities will be smaller and less numerous than they otherwise would be in a low or no inflation market environment. It's also possible that inflation could lead to fewer parking spaces on newly built multifamily properties, or each individual parking space might be smaller. This is because developers may prioritize other aspects of the building, such as amenities or high-quality materials, over providing ample parking. In addition, if land prices are increasing due to inflation, developers may need to further maximize their use of available space by constructing more units and reducing parking availability. However, it ultimately depends on the specific development project, its financial constraints, and the local zoning laws. While we can't change the market, we can change how we respond to it. First, just because your apartment is smaller, that doesn't mean that you can't have an amazing living space. There are several ways that renters can make better use of their space in order to limit the impact of shrinking apartment sizes. One option is to invest in dual-purpose furniture, such as a sofa bed or a coffee table with built-in storage. This allows for more functional use of space without sacrificing comfort or style. Another strategy is to consider using wall shelves or built-in storage solutions to maximize vertical space and keep items organized and out of the way. Likewise, we can't control what appliances are installed in the apartments that are on the market. But there is something we can do about it. When you tour an apartment, gather the make and model of the appliances installed. Each appliance has a tag displaying this information. For the stove, it may just be inside the oven door or visible over the warming drawer when you open it. For refrigerators, it's usually inside the refrigerator on the left or right wall. And for water heaters, this is usually information that's prominently displayed on the front. With this information in hand, you can find out the estimated power usage of the appliances to see if it's out of line. Remember, the developer chose the appliances based on their initial cost, which is the part they have to pay, not the cost of the energy to run them, which is the part that you as the renter will have to pay. While the new property itself may have fewer amenities, you may be able to balance that out by choosing neighborhoods that offer parks, community centers, and other recreational offerings. Remember that you aren't just renting an apartment. This apartment is in a community that is in a neighborhood. Also, be clear on what amenities you will actually use. I've seen so many prospective renters gush over having a pool on the property and then never actually use it. Lastly, let's chat about what you can do about parking. We did a whole episode on it, which I'll link down in the show notes. But if a parking space comes with the apartment, make sure your vehicle will fit in it comfortably. Smaller and fewer parking spaces also mean more street parking is in your future as a renter. So visit any properties you tour in the evening to get a flavor of the street parking situation. 9 out of 10 times, the property manager will make the street parking situation look much rosier than it actually is. Thanks for watching Renter Confidential. Happy apartment hunting. When it comes to renting, insider information is the best roommate you can ever have. Subscribing to Renter Confidential is the best way to keep the industry insider tips coming. If you're listening to the podcast, you'll also find the show's videos on YouTube and Rumble. You can also follow me for daily tips on social media. You'll find me at Rental Secrets on Facebook and Instagram. While on Twitter, my handle is Rental Secret. And on LinkedIn, I'm Justin Poe. You can find us online at rentalsecrets.net with free gifts, guest interviews of me on other podcasts, and much more. Thanks for listening.